Okay, in this video we're going to put our conjugates to work, okay? And this is game day. This is what we've been practicing all year for. So let's get it on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to use the conjugate, and I want to multiply this whole thing by the conjugate of the denominator. Okay, so what's the conjugate of the denominator going to be? It's going to be 1 plus I. Okay, so let's just go ahead and see what happens. So what do we get? We get 1 plus I plus I. See, I did first, then I did the outside, then I did the inner term. Now I'm going to do my last term. I squared. Okay, now I'm just going to FOIL all over again. I'm going to do my first term. Okay, then I'm going to do my outside term. Then I'm going to do my inner term. Okay, now I'm going to do the last term. Okay. We know I squared is equal to -1. Okay. We know that these will just cancel out. They'll go to 0. And I have 1 minus I squared, which is just -1. Okay. If I combine my like terms, I get 1 minus 1 plus 2i. And if I subtract a negative number, I'm really adding. So where are we at now? We're at 2i, okay, over 2. Okay? And you could say that the 2's cancel out and you're left with just plain I. Okay? And that would be a correct answer, but to be formal, we want to write it as a complex number. That's just the imaginary number. Here's a complex number. Okay? So this would be your answer. So, and if you wanted to get really technical, you could write it like that. Okay? So there is an example of doing division. So let's see here. Let's do another one. Let's do another one. And I'm going to pick out. Let's go. Okay, so here we go. All right, so what's the conjugate in this one? 3 minus I. Notice how this right here, this 3i, 3 minus I over 3 minus I is just 1. So all I'm doing, I'm just multiplying this thing by 1. And it's a fraction. Okay, so where's my first term? That's a 6. Then I've got a -2i. Then I've got a -9i. Then I've got a positive 3i squared. Now I got a positive 9. Now I got a -3i. Positive 3i. And I have a negative I squared. You know, don't let the negative and the positive fool you on the sign. It's still negative. I squared is what we're looking for. Okay, so let's simplify this a little more. Well, that's just what's that? Just a -11i plus 3. I squared is equal to -1. Okay, 9. -3i plus 3i goes to 0, so that's negative, and I squared is worth -1. Okay, I mean, always a good idea to kind of think about these I squareds being in parentheses, because you could get fooled by that. Okay. That's why I like to write everything out. See, notice how I put the -1 in parentheses. That way I don't accidentally miss a sign right here. It's a good way to make an easy mistake and just lose an easy point on a test or something. So now I'm gonna group my like terms. I'm gonna have a 6. So this is gonna turn into a -3. Okay. And this will be 9. This will turn into 9 plus 1. Okay. because 9 minus -1 is just, so here we go. So 6 minus 3, that is 3, minus 11i over 10. And just like the last one, we want to actually write it as two terms. So let's just go 3. I mean, this is correct, but it's more formal to write this. Well, I don't know if it's actually correct. I don't care if people write it like this, but you might want to write it like this. Okay. And this is probably your safest bet right there, okay? Because then the good thing about this is right away I can look at it and I know, oh, I need to go 3 up, or I need to go over 3 tenths and then down 11 tenths, a little over 1, okay? So, how about one more? How about 7 divided by 3i? Okay. So how about -3i? That's going to be -21i over 3 times -3 is a -9i squared. Notice how I have a negative over. Well, here's another thing. Don't go and cancel this out. Okay, don't do that. Okay, first we're going to look at our -21 and our -9 divide out and become positive. Division is really just inverse multiplication, so it's just like a negative times a negative. Divided by a negative, divided by a negative, it's the same thing. And then we're going to keep the I here, then we're just going to go -1. Okay, see how I simplified that? Don't like use your exponent rule and cross that out, because you might end up getting in some trouble. Okay, so that's that'll work right there, but it's probably a little better if we write 0 minus 21i over 9. So that's going to give you your complex form. So we don't move left or right at all. We just go down 21 ninths. I guess you could divide both sides by 3 and get, I don't know, little over 2. So that's that. So that's using conjugates to divide complex numbers. And I probably won't do a whole lot more videos on complex numbers until we get into trigonometry. And even after that, I mean, I don't know why they really teach algebra students. I guess it's kind of good, but I mean, like, the only time I've ever used complex numbers is in like electrical circuits. You use them quite a bit, and actually in electrical circuits we call it J because I is for current, and so we need something else. We call it J. So I'm not really. Maybe I'll do some research and find out if there are any fields of study that depend on complex numbers. But I mean, really, seriously, that's the only time I've ever used them. Is like electrical circuits. So maybe we'll talk about that. So I hope everything is good. I guess I'm gonna go munch on some chips now.